Thanks. We got 5 excellent poets who are going to be sharing their arts with you. Before I get started, sorry, the brain farts. Just want to note tonight's performance may contain mature themes and strong language. And now, here's your first poet of the night, Catherine George.
Hello, hello. How we feeling, everybody? Now, y'all know, it is a Friday night. How y'all feeling, everybody? There we go. That sounds a lot better. I'm just going to move this out of my way. So my name is Catherine George. Thank you so much for lending us your time, your presence. We appreciate you dearly. And this first piece that I'm going to get into is entitled Tonight. Tonight, let us use this world as our dance floor. Let us not think of the nights we tried to free fall from rooftops, tempt gravity into granting us eternal sleep. Do not think of the lover who could outrun a bullet, who showed you their hidden talents when you promised if the opportunity presented itself, you would take one for them. Stand on the edge of the earth. Watch the horizon bleed as it gives birth to the sun. Watch the sun as it comes down to us. Tonight, let us not think of death, for coffins are just cocoons, and they're a parade of butterflies fluttering in a meadow too wondrous for us to even imagine. Write your stories. Even if it looks like squid ink to the rest of the world, sing. Too many stars died so that you can live. Let tonight make a fetus out of you, baby. Be reborn so that tonight could be the start of forever. Now, I'm from New York City, and we get a little loud down there. Y'all real nice and classy, but I'm going to coach you all through what I'm sure the rest of the poets will appreciate for the rest of the evening. So if you hear a line you really enjoy, can I hear you all snap? Okay, that's nice. If you hear something you really love, can I hear y'all clap? We love a go in, poet. What else we got? Give us something, poets. What else? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, y'all can feel free to make noise, make weird sounds. If you enjoy it, give us the energy. Don't be afraid to clap in the middle of the poem. Give us that sauce. I know DC got some sauce, all right? So give it to us, all right? So this next piece, I don't know if we have any Beyoncé fans in the audience. We got any Beyoncé fans? Yes, Beyoncé fans. Okay. So when I say, you wake up, you say, there we go. Now, the rest of y'all got that? Y'all just say flawless when I point at y'all. Okay. So, you wake up, post up, right around in that, flossing in that, these diamonds, my diamonds, this rock, my rock. Beyoncé responds to the petition concerning Blue Ivy's hair. You build an altar to worship me. Count the moles on my face. Call it stargazing. Praise how my shade of brown is inoffensive. How I make you dance with my smile with a hair whip. Love these hips. Don't believe anything divine can come from them. They will call my offspring Antichrist. Lie. Fake. Nappy-headed, big-lipped Negro, Blue Ivy, born in wedlock. From a man I love, from a man that loved me back, that know me like Brooklyn hustle, that know what I mean when I speak of Houston struggle. Blue ivy come from a voice that taught me how to love everything about me. Come from a song that brought black back into the White House. Come from, I'll sing until this voice runs away, because now I got what matters most. Listen. You can't tell another black woman how to raise her child when everyone else is busy trying to kill them. They want to make my daughter trinkets, want to police her body before she can say anything at all. Black woman will get shot in the face while asking for help in Detroit. Black woman will have to bury her son for being improperly dressed in Florida. Black woman will have to explain the bullet that rung through her roof wasn't intended for the husband that was beating her. Black woman just hope that something will defend her. There are little girls halfway around the world that have forgotten what their homes smell like. Tonight, someone will know what drought feels like. Someone will know hunger is actually a torture mechanism. Someone will know disease isn't into sharing the body, it's destroying. Someone will not know the magic of mourning. Tonight, someone will die. The earth is ripping at its seams. The mountains are braving themselves to crumble. The seas are whistling a song of defeat. And you think what needs the most fixing is the hair on my daughter's head? My daughter will be the reason why someone believes in the burning of stars, how they can come together, how one not need be a black hole for the other to exist, how they can share each other's warmth without compromising their shine. My daughter will be the reason someone will know life can sprout where death once stood. Now tell me that ain't. There we go. Thank you all so much. So this is my final piece. I really love the Kennedy Center. I am in awe of this beautiful space. I thank you once again for your time. I'm really excited to hear the rest of the poets. I hope you all are excited as well. But this piece is for the future, for the future black people, for the people that aren't here yet, for the people that will have to continue to fight, for the people that will have to continue to believe in themselves even when the world tells us that we shouldn't. So this is for them. Even as time dissolves on earth, they still believe our bodies are disposable. When I'm gone, I'll wonder, did I do enough for this world to be different for you? Even in my absence, I'll know. Your smile is made up of sun rays and laughter. Your eyes are a lighthouse for the lost. Your palms will carry this new generation into their promised land. Your feet tread upon uneasy grounds with grace. Your tongue brings to life what no hands can destroy. Your heart takes up the size of any room you walk into. Your embrace is the wind that lifts people up. Your generosity is ocean enough for people to drown in. You were chosen for such a time as this. So walk in wisdom, walk in freedom, walk in love. Catch courage in the palm of your hands. Sing it a sweet lullaby when you feel it escaping you, because baby, the thought of you makes evil quiver. The fire in your fingertips burns down strongholds. You surpass all of my wildest imaginations. You are an answered prayer. You are the future. You are the light. Even when you don't feel it, you are secure. Even when you don't see it, you are surrounded. Even when you don't believe it, you are significant. You will have the victory from everlasting to everlasting. Thank you so much. My name is Catherine George. God bless all of you. And I just want to introduce the next poet. Give it up for Lauren. Come on, y'all. Come on. Bring that DC energy. Give it up for Lauren. Yes, Lauren. Lauren. Woo!
Is it on? Is it on? Is it on? Hi, beautiful people. How How was everyone this evening? That's good to hear. Thank you guys so much for taking your time out to spend with us. Let's see if I know what to do. I don't know what to do. I just want it taller. Can you guys hear me good? We'll make it work. I'll use my big voice. Okay. In the dead of night, or this is a story about a shadow, or this is a story about a girl in 2 parts. Part 1, imagine an image, stretch marks and grayscale, a dismantled body, tinted, erect breasts and woolly hair, full lips, wide hips, thick thighs, unshackled, but still belonging. A familiar darkness of self and touch and naked, dimples and indents, reeking of runaway. Thumbs pressed into side as if to say, here I am. On hip, or as my father calls it, on my imagination, black dot and white abyss, black body swallowed by white sanded sea, washed up on West African shore, knees no kneel but not gravel, she has the scars to prove it. Your story will leave its trace even without your permission. All the lives you live will move in and decorate. Plant your feet in places you aren't ready for. What is a place that never ever feels like you belong? Always at sea, always drowning until that one spontaneous deep breath as if to apologize to my lungs over and over. Here is a wash of air, a child of the diaspora, she, her, they read, never having a care for dainty. Here, Lauren, hold your shoulders back. Here, why you always so mannish looking? Read, queer. See, a black girl in love, flat-footed in a sanctuary of God, brown sugar, love, honey, and magic. Walking into the ocean to drown all the noise somehow in all its grandeur. The village gets too heavy, too many eggshells. When I was level with whatever you find at the bottom, swallowed. My body almost didn't make it back. Untitled. I'm learning to shed pain that isn't my own. Pain I'm sure my mother never thought of when she kept me. But when you rest pain in the pit of your stomach, what else is a child to eat? We shared a home, me and her pain, grew with me, entered the world hand in hand, a sea of misfortune that had nothing to do with me, a rainbow child, bearing the bones of those that didn't make it earthside, but I look like my mother, her pain. She has never been my friend because of it. Too triggering, too scared, I suppose, too much to apologize to. Somehow, she doesn't owe her pain anything. Not tools, not accountability, not this was the best I could do, so thank you for turning out all right, nothing. Because her pain had a roof over its head and clothes on its back. Except pain doesn't decompose when you bury it. It festers in the soil, engulfs itself in the roots and weeds up out of the ground and can still look beautiful. But we pull weeds, no matter what they look like, right? So here I am, pulling out our weeds, Ma, getting them out of my dirt, because I still have to birth black babies and love on my man and me and you. I pray you have the courage to do the same, because how beautiful it is on the other side of fear, of ego, how unabashed we get to be in ourselves and our light. Know that your pain melded me, but did not make me. That I have sifted through your darkness, your dirt, and have still come out beautifully. September 24th, 2020, a prayer for Breonna Taylor. Yesterday, for the first time in a long time, I turned on the news. Something I always talk myself out of, but yesterday for you, I did. Not hoping for anything different. I just needed to see. For you, I just want to give you your flowers and let your body rest. Continue to rest. You were resting in your bed next to your man like I do every night. For you, I hope Black women don't fear rest, that we dream of resting. More than that, I hope it is you that gives us our breath every day, what whispers us awake and pulls gravity to our feet. For your babies, I hope they remember you as you were, the you just had to be there to know. May you ground us all. May the weight and severity of our protection be understood. May you actually mean something to the people who weren't there, the ones that have befriended you because your smile radiates like a good time, who feel you, and whatever life you were in. May it always be a pleasure to see you, my sister, as you were before you laid to rest. Inside Out. There is a blues song in my bones that I'm not ready to learn the words to. A marrow deep soliloquy of all my highest seas and lowest valleys in an audience of fear. I pray space be freed for my voice to roll in over the darkness, that conviction give me the courage to walk in myself, remain, and return home all in one sunrise. Regrettably grateful that my memories escape me, that all the places that the absence of light dwells, underneath, a mirage of myself. On the other side, my favorite song is the one my skin sings in the moonlight. When the blue light twinkles off my skin and just for a second I can confuse the moon that I am just a star in her sky. When I feel my gravity in its entirety, and I know that I'm that girl, and just like that, the fog clears for me enough for me to realize that it was even foggy the whole time. Take what you need. 1, find peace in surrendering to the things you cannot change. 2, relearn that to surrender is truly an ascension to higher. 3, from now on, be love. Move in love. 4, allow your highest self to further reflect your inner light. 5, know that this is always a balance of your earthly self and your higher consciousness. 6, do your best to stand in your own nuances. 7, bring critical eye to everything. Welcome to the Low Show, where it's always that serious. 8, you thought your empathy was a curse. Baby girl, how powerful you are to feel all things. 9, clean out your closet. 10, the only thing you know for sure is that change is always. Charge everything else to the game. 11, speaking of change, you have shed yourself too many times to always be afraid of what is on the other side of fear. 12, do shit even when you're afraid. 13, read more, please. 14, don't forget that you are God, and your temple always needs time to heal. 15, people will talk you out of yourself. Don't let them. 16, go nowhere where you cannot fully show up. Know that means sometimes missing out, but remember, you are never truly missing out. 17, pray and meditate. 18, grant yourself grace. Your grandmothers teach you that is as close to unconditional as it gets. 19, let the rage go. 20, all of it. Every day, let more and more fall off your shoulder and out of your mind. 21, that doesn't mean break your boundaries or bend for any inconveniences. 22, you are not an imposter. You are deserving of being here. 23, cry whenever you see fit. 24, don't talk yourself out of your happiness. 25, be thankful for this breath and this skin, and be ready to die about it at any moment. Peace. Thank y'all so much. Okay, I'm supposed to introduce who's coming up next. He's phenomenal. He mentors me, he grows me, he speaks of me in rooms I'm not in yet, and I really, really hope y'all enjoy Tony Keith Jr.
Good evening, everybody. And yeah, I knew Lauren when she was a high school student, involved with the DCU Poetry Slam team. So proud of her. Put this down. All right, y'all can hear me okay? Yeah. Fantastic. I got, technically it's like a poem and 2.5. This poem is entitled Starving Artist. As someone who has been able to survive and thrive as an artist during the pandemic, this poem speaks, it's exactly sort of where I am in my life and probably a lot of my colleagues out here tonight. Hi family, yes, I see y'all. Okay. I am a poet afraid to publish. I'm worried about seeing my words printed in a book and on the back of all these blurbs like, this is a nation's bestseller. This is a must-read. What a wonderful account of an artist's words. I actually think it's absurd for some to only use their art for profit. And y'all, I ain't trying to justify the lifestyle of a starving artist, but I feel like if art really is your gift, then starving at some point should be a part of it. I feel like there should be some pangs in the pit of your stomach when your notebooks are empty and ain't no more ink left in your pen. When you aren't changing lives and your paper is thin. Y'all, I've accepted that at some point, my economic reality may rely on my poetic balladry, and I'm not sure that my poems are as good as I think they are, but I know that I'm no longer willing to sell my soul just to write some fallacies. And y'all, I have. I've written poems at the wishes of others. I've written wedding poems and birthday poems and poems about anniversaries and poems that spice up other people's love lives, and y'all, sometimes I feel a little dirty and a little used and confused about whether they actually heard me. Sometimes I wish I could turn down the volume on some of my words and transform these performances into conversations where I could just be Tony Keith, the poet, the educator, and the nerd. Because y'all, I want to be known as that artsy-fartsy intellect who believed that there was power in his words, and that I not only took responsibility for what I said, but I took responsibility for those of you that heard. Whether or not I pissed you off or I convinced you to change the world, let you know that sometimes, y'all, I got tired. And yes, y'all, sometimes I got weary, but poets, I kept on writing even when my vision was blurry, even when I couldn't see what was in front of me, even when people told me I need to sit still. Y'all, they tell me grass never grows under your feet. And I say, look, Pop, Ma, Grandma, that's because I'm way too busy climbing uphill. I tell them I don't have time to rest until the rest of my poems are written. But y'all, I can't stop writing, so none of my poems have endings, just transitions between new beginnings and space savers while refilling the ink in my pen again, or moments when I need to stop, sleep, and dream just to recharge my system, or moments when I need to set my pen on record and just listen. Listen. I'm trying to think myself through a literary breakthrough. Break down walls of bondage with poetic correspondence, and if I have to, make other people feel uncomfortable. Make their spirits feel unsettled while my feet keep pushing on these pedals, because y'all, I ain't got no choice but to keep pushing through. Look, I'm doing what I'm called to do, and if you're open to receiving tonight, the next call may be for you, but if you don't answer, don't you worry. I got agency, and I can collect when the payment is due. Now, granted, y'all, I got a couple of degrees. My bank account probably won't go in the red if I spend a couple of pennies, but I've only got 2 cents to my name. And so the life that I'm trying to live actually does require change, but like a lot of artists, I got bills. So I guess I'm gonna have to keep writing until my soul gets saturated and I hope that my wallet gets filled. And some people say, Tony, don't worry, because it's faith that'll get you through. Well, y'all, truthfully, I'm not that much of a religious man, but I tell you right now, faith, I invoke you as my muse. Faith, I invoke you as my power of attorney. Faith, I want you to take over for me when I can't take over for myself. Faith, I want you to take over for me when my ego can no longer control my wealth. Faith, I want you to be afraid to unplug my microphone and knock all my notebooks off the shelf. Faith, don't be afraid to let me flatline. Let me lay there till my heart gets back to beating at a humble grind. Resuscitate the power of God back into my lungs and help me create new poems. Pure and simple ones. Poems about failure and poems about victory. Poems that rhyme occasionally, poems that resist artistic prisons, and poems that enforce as pen is a lethal system. Y'all, I'm a poet afraid to publish. So I guess I'm gonna have to keep publishing on these stages and earn some kind of living on free open mic wages. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This next, I guess I'm gonna call, I guess it is 2 pieces. I wrote them separately, but they kind of go together. I am an openly gay, married black man in America, tough time, and also a wonderful time. And so I've been writing poems about what it's like to be married to my husband. Shout out to Harry, he's not here tonight, but he's amazing. And so I've got a couple poems that I've never shared in public before, so y'all about to get something brand new tonight. And so these poems run together. The first one is entitled Reality of Us, and the second one is Love in Dark Basements. You'll see the way they kind of flow. This is inspired, by the way, for like reality TV shows. We could never have one. It would not be a good idea. Who we are together ain't some comic book fairy tale reality TV show script. Ain't nothing waiting beyond the credits for us. Ain't no secrets written on cards waiting on cue for us. Ain't no cameras capable of capturing the way our words will fly on walls and stick and sting sometimes and soothe and heal and inflate bellies bloated full of laughter. Ain't no confessional booth safe enough to press play on all the bull and still be in love the morning after. But after every morning, there you are, with your words inspiring and sharp, cutting through my tough parts, exposing where I'm tender and how I tend to bark at your attempts at being tender, or like when I confuse salt with sugar and I taste your words wrong. My bad, I'm still getting adjusted to your sweetness. Still trying to figure out how saline can be the main ingredient for both blood and love, and that both have to do with a beating heart, and that a heartbeat can sound like honey but feel like sap. Can't tell if it's the bees or the trees that keeps pulling you back, like a spring, like a swing, like a pendulum, like a clapper, that thing that makes a Liberty Bell ring, like a dream. Like figuring out in front of facing fears and tears, furious and on fire, flaming F-bombs, smashing egos into pieces, and then arguing about whose pieces it is. Can't figure out what piece is. You can't deconstruct conflict in a war zone of masculinity. Two men in love, mad, marking up territories, measuring up, chest puffed, pissing contest over misunderstanding context don't always result in romantic kisses from the movies. More like fireworks on display in the month of December. Got the neighbors scared, got way too much bass playing up there, all that vibrato rumbling. Meanwhile, two men are fumbling over gender roles, running crooked on the field because they ain't straight. It ain't that simple. It's complicated. Two men in love, frustrated, ain't got nothing to do with who makes the dinner. It all depends on what you eat. Ain't got nothing to do with who does the dishes. It's whether or not they're clean. It's simple-ish that we keep stored in a bottle of resentment that we keep trapped down in dark basements. And I love you like sounds found in dark basements. The kind of thud where the fear of facing the source chases you up the steps, afraid you run. You run because it feels brave, but you run because you're really afraid of being pulled back down into some dark, familiar space, some place where monsters have faces and no name and no shame. You know, that urban legend never really ends with the real battle with the monster. It, heavy and ugly, breathing on your heels, waiting to see your fear, waiting to drag you back down there. No one ever talks about the fight. No one ever talks about facing demons with bare fists, no weapons, just knuckles and wrists. No one ever talks about the battle. No one tells you that your skin is not thick enough to withstand the blows, and that your heart beats harder than your blood can actually flow, and it makes you feel silly and weak, and you can't see. See, nobody tries to talk about swinging in the darkness. No flesh tag, just black monster camouflaged, it aiming for your rib cage, and you just trying to protect your heart. No one ever talks about it that way. And yet we always manage to make it atop the steps, reach the top, relieved that we've dodged death, because instead of bobbing and Stephen right, we Craig and Steve left and almost missed it, and almost missed him, at risk of losing my own life, because suicide ain't for cowards, but you got to be brave enough for this fight. You got to be able to stand at the foot of those stairs and stare and dare that monster to speak and say, love, I am not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. Thank you all so much. Coming up, it is my pleasure to introduce Gowrie. Wait, there's a system.
Good evening, everyone. How are you, Millennium Stage? Thank you for joining us for some poetry this evening. The first poem I'd like to share is called Footprints, and it was born out of a project years ago that paired young artists from Jabalia refugee camp in Palestine with poets in Washington, D.C. And in this poem, I quote the 1960s civil rights song, "We Shall Not Be Moved." So those of you who know those words may recognize some of them. And I also make reference to my people's background as Elam Tamils from Sri Lanka. We stomp footprints into dirt, merge our heels with our roots. Like trees planted by the water, we shall not be moved, except by the force of our own feet, delight in our own dances. We ask for what is ours to be returned to us. We remember every heart that has died broken. We celebrate that we are here, haunted but healing. We shall not be moved except by the force of our own feet, delight in our own dances. Dabke in Jabalia, Palestine. Kummi in Jaffna, Sri Lanka. Go-go in Washington, D.C. Like palpitations underground shift tectonic plates, some have tried with equal force to steal us from our place. This skin is the sun-stained color of soil my grandmother's grandmother walked on, survived on, thrived on. Now soldiers' families settled the land my people were built on. If we were trees planted by the water, would you hear us shout timber to warn you? Get out of the way. The ground beneath your feet is about to shake. Thank you, thank you. Sometimes I do brief definitions before I share a poem, not because I don't think that everyone here can look words up in the dictionary, but sometimes these terms are maybe new, maybe not so familiar to all of us. So this next poem uses a term you may or may not have heard before. The term is people of the global majority. And as a poet, I love when we can use language to turn things on their head, right? When we can use language to change how we might perceive something and understand something. People of the global majority is a perhaps more nuanced way of referring to all of us who are typically called minorities or people of color. This poem is called Turn On Push Notifications. When the non-transferable invitation says business attire or national dress, you wear what they think is your nation. Get those, "Oh, I love your culture" smiles from liberal white people. Tonight, you are here to perform arts panelist. Answer their questions about the ways we talk about what we do and why and what are the themes here and do they burn you? Your friend was asked to share a poem and did, but not before they told him his best pieces are too political. And couldn't he bring something a bit more celebratory? And maybe he could use the word diversity in there. You sip your drink and snap when he takes the stage. Commend one of the few speakers here for whom diversity means me and the rest of the global majority. Lols. Remember that time you were in that play and it centered white fragility and white privilege and the white gaze, and some of your white friends came and they were so excited and OMG, we needed to hear that. Then remember how you keep telling yourself that maybe they could handle it if you alerted them to their casual supremacy. How pavement puddles steaming with their preferences attract the most incisive stings. How you itch each time you spell and pronounce and recite silence in sympathy while they keep talking. But hey, maybe if you tried, you could chill that smog of sweat so humid you've been wearing it since the start of your 15th DC summer. Because these days, we name every season what is going on, and how much more can anyone? Every old poem about this country is relevant. Every TV show is streaming, bingeable, forever on repeat. Why? And what are the themes here? And do they burn you? Thank you. I'm going to share a poem with you that I wrote years ago, and it has come to be my answer to the question, why do I think it's important? Why is it important to me to write and share poetry in contexts like this one? And this poem is called How to Be a Model Minority. They say be still, be small, stay seated, stop squirming. This may be your life, but they'll say what it's made of. They say a little sweetener on a spoon will make it smooth when the meds go down. They say they have the recipe to make you function, to pop, pop, snap till you crackle. They say poetry is dead, or should be, 'cause words are useless. Just whining and rhyming, hypnotizing, justifying, proselytizing. They don't see the uprising, but why would they? They say dissent is a sign that something bad is up your sleeve. When bent kneed, cuffed, and pleading, you dare to ask why. They say you belong with a he, and you with a she, and who makes the rules? We, because they say you don't know what's good for you. They say you're the different, the misstep, the wrong color of the rainbow. They say they don't know where you belong, but it's not here. Because this is their story, and you weren't there, not even a footnote. Defeated, deleted, and then not even indexed. They say your name never came up. To be a model minority, just keep your mouth shut. Or open it, and together we will lift ourselves up. Thank you so much, everyone. I would love to welcome onto the stage our final poet of the evening. Can we please give it up for Derek Weston Brown?
Thank you, Gowrie. And can we give it up for the poets that have already rocked the stage? I'm serious. It's a Friday night. Happy to be a part of this. And also, this is like my first reading in front of like live people in nearly 2 years. So it's good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. All right. We got any teachers out there? Professors, school teachers, where y'all at? All right. Whew. For some of you all, especially professors, you know it's the end of the semester and it's real out there and you've got students, you know, expecting grades and all sorts of other things and time, and this is a haiku for professors. A black professor sighs into his hands a cool autumn wind. Thank you. Okay, yes, you were there. You know, it's like the professor is like, oh, so that's what that was about. All right. I am also a poet, and I'm also a person of many jobs at one time in my life, and I used to sell books. I was also a children's librarian, and like many of the poets out here, I love to read, and this is a poem for one of my early heroes. Anybody ever read The Snowy Day? Ezra Jack Keats in the building? All right, this is for my friend Peter. You are a bright red cardinal feather, Peter. You are me. A brown boy who scales mountains and slides down slopes of imagination, takes snowballs home for keepsakes, and weeps when what you love melts away in the warmth of a happy home. And haven't we all as children tried to pocket happiness, to stow it away for a rainy day when the melt becomes too much for us and grown-up fears and futures start to snowball? Peter, you are my brown reminder of the child within, who will never, ever melt away. My man, Peter. All right, and summer is attacking us. I'm not summer. Winter is, just around the corner, and I already miss summer, and I have a thing for the elements, for the seasons, and especially because of, I have to say COVID. When I was at the stay-at-home issue, I have a roof deck on my building. And the coolest thing about it was I would go up on the roof and just be like, thank gosh I can be outside. And it's a roof where not many people can get there, and I was glad to have it. And that was the first time in a long time that I remembered watching the seasons come and go. And so this is for summer, or come on already. Dusk is fighting like hell to hold on before night drapes its jet cape across your shoulders. It is May, but you can smell summer coming in the wind. Summer is that forever crush whose scent you can't forget and you swore you were over. But summer slips hints that it's near. Summer loves messing with you. Summer, who pressed you up against a salmon-colored stucco wall on a rooftop and filled your nose with the fresh smell of fallen fat raindrops on asphalt. Summer, who rolled you out soft and made you malleable gold leaf on a mattress and gave not a care about thread count and showed you how your two sweat-soaked silhouettes on sheets was pop art of the highest order. Summer, you are the sound of cracking ice cubes in a mason jar of sweet tea and bourbon. Summer, you're the rustle of a fingertip smoothing sugar crystals from the rim of my wanting mouth. Summer, you're the deep heat between a palm catching sweat beads from the small of a back. Summer, you are water trapped in engorged locks. One more dip in the pool, please. Summer, you're the tan line discovered, the heat pushing through that screen door, the dangling foot from the hammock making time with each two-toed touch push from the wall. The surrendered click of zipper teeth and ripples. Damn, summer. Just get here already. Whew. So, I also have this big crush on the moon. And I don't know if it was last summer, a few summers ago, I saw my first blood moon, and I was like, moon, let me holler at you. So this is called Derek Hollers at Last Night's Blood Moon. This is my game. You crimson dollop of jam on the lip of night's obsidian mouth. You plump, sanguine muscadine with an urge to burst and run relays of galactic juice across my tongue. How in the entire hell you get so fine, you wine-colored celestial? You make me want to set a course, tie my foot to the gas, and lead-foot it to your horizon. Look at you, them big-ass craters and shit. I mean, everybody's been shooting their shot at you for a millennia. Seems only right I try to cup you in my hands from the dashboard or press you, roll you between my fingers, you swollen nipple, you bloodstone, you Prince B-side, you late-night party bulb pulsing just for me. Okay, the moon hadn't hollered back yet, but we'll see. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, check my time. Cool. So, Jon Snow and Colin Kaepernick are in a pub. Any Game of Thrones fans out there? We got a few? All right, making sure. We know who Colin Kaepernick is? Okay, just making sure. All right. So, Jon Snow and Colin Kaepernick are in a pub, and Jon Snow stomps up to the bar and demands a drink from the barkeep after his first meeting with Daenerys Targaryen, mother of dragons, the unburnt Khaleesi of the great grass sea, breaker of chains, protector of the realm, queen of the marine, and he's most vexed. He shakes his curly brown locks with an irritated flourish and vents his surrounding entourage with a frustration only reserved for bastards and says, I'm being refused resources, soldiers, all the things I need to possibly save my home, my people, and my world because I won't bend the knee. Can you imagine it? All of this over my kneecap touching the earth? Since when does fealty to a shuttered empire overshadow principle? Must it always be like this? And from the back of the pub, Colin Kaepernick rises with an afro haloing his head like some ancient spherical crown and answers back, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Some of y'all get that later. You get it later. All right. Thank you. And this last poem is a poem of gratitude. Thanks. After Yusef Komunyaka's poem, Thanks, and verdict after verdict after verdict. St. Augustine said, an unjust law is no just law at all, is no law at all, which means I have a right, even a duty, to resist with violence or civil disobedience. You should pray, I choose the latter. James Farmer, The Great Debaters. Thanks for the story Nikki Giovanni told at a reading about the sleeping car porters who kept black children safe and alive on trains to and from the South. I don't know why, but someone always steered me safely to my destination. Thanks to my 6th grade bus driver with that Jerry curl who saved me from the storm of teeth and fur that bolted unleashed from a neighbor's yard. Somehow, he knew and timed the bus horn just right and scattered that 6-pack of pit bulls back across the screaming yellow median. Thanks for trusty stride rights and a neighbor home early who spooked the truckload of white boys looking for a reason to hurt and curse my 9-year-old frame. They made to jump from the cab to grab me. I never ran so fast or hoisted my bike so quickly when my neighbors, "Hey," made them pause. Thank yous to whatever gods I called by name each time the blue and white strode past my anxious face, cannonballing down the freeway, or when searchlights held my gaze but passed on. What made my mug not fit for the APB, I'll never know, but every night I remember seeing versions of me curbside, pockets emptied of contents, car doors open and flung like crying beaks. Again, thank you for my fingers, more nervous fumbling with desert eagles frat brothers wanted me to hold than with pens, soup, spoons, forks, and measuring cups. I don't know why, but every time the urge to fill my hand with muzzle and trigger percolated within my blood, it was filled with other means of heat. Thank you for making me miss a stampede at a ball game when gunshots started pistoled a ripple of chaos through the crowd. I was moping in an empty hallway, trying to shake off rejection from the flyest girl in 10th grade. Thank you for the boys I know who lived and in their late 40s talk of cheating death's emissaries, standard chokeholds, checkpoints, scuffed shoes, cutbacks, and gutless neighborhood watchmen. I still tremor with rage when I think of that bouncer who mushed my face with a gloved hand after I refused to take off my tam so he could search my locks. Maybe it is better that he could not reach me when I called him a bird-chested bitch from within a sea of black men. Maybe it is better that I could not reach him. All I know is that those hands held me close and steered me safely to my destination, moving only when I moved. Thank you.
So it appears that we still have time. So I'm just going to do another poem. This requires a little bit of audience participation if you can. Please, if you can, if you're able, place your hand out in front of you like this. Look at it. Look at the palm of your hand. Say, "Hey, hand." Hey, hand. Say, "Hey, good to see you." I want you to take that hand. I want you to pat yourself on the back. If you can, say, "Good job, me." Say, "I'm proud of myself. It's a global pandemic. Black people still tired of dying, but it's a Friday night. I'm at the Kennedy Center listening to poetry. I'm great." I want you to take that same hand. If you're comfortable with that, pat somebody else on the back and say, "Good job. Good to see you. Proud of you. I appreciate you. You're wonderful," right? Show some gratitude, right? This poem is an appreciation poem, and it's for all the poets who performed tonight and everybody who came out. And thank you, Kennedy Center. Also, shout out to Goldie Dean. And I'm waving at somebody. Or something. Y'all waving at me, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, okay, poem goes like this. We fear what we love. Being awesome is a monster trapped inside of closets that watches us sleep, that steals our dreams in the dark, and when we awake, we forget how amazing we could be if we just turned the lights on. If we just pulled the cover from over our eyes, placed our feet on the ground, and boldly proclaimed that we are not afraid of greatness. That no matter how many nights we shiver, scared of our own success, we will at some point get a full night's rest and we will rise with the sun. And like the sun, y'all, we will be bright and blinding and bold and hot and huge, and people will need us to survive the cold and the night. And we will awaken, y'all, as warriors of weary, as soldiers of failure, as griots of fate, armed with weapons of mass construction. We will build ourselves a fortress of power, protecting ourselves from hating to be loved, and our capacity to be godlike, and our right to be present, and our calling poets to be parents to offsprings of our victories, and ancestors to heartbreak and loneliness and empty pockets and grumbling bellies and confusion. And we will no longer hold our pillows too tight at night wishing it were a warm body or a healthy diagnosis. or a phone call from daddy, or a note that says, I love you, from the person you actually want to love you. And we will awaken with muscles up on our shoulders that are strong enough to hold the world up when people need us to hold the world up because they are tired of holding the world up. And we will awaken, y'all, with our voices in harmony and pitch that makes a whisper seem like a rocket ship, and a rocket ship sound like, yo, I miss you. And we will tiptoe down hallways, making footprints feel like earthquakes, and we will awaken. All those sleeping, all of you afraid to be brilliant, all of you afraid to be acknowledged for daring to be different, for those of you who run when you should stand, for those of you who hush when you should command, for those of you who need to realize you can't hide in the light. It sticks to you like brown does on this black skin, like sap from trees rooted in sweet soil. I need everybody in Millennium Stage to know that you're stars. Literally, I see you in the sky, defying laws of space, time, and gravity, because humans are not supposed to fly, but you glide like the first leaves in autumn. Your silhouettes strut in daylight and they dance with the moon. You are part of a collective, a critical mass of intellectuals, and you are governed by some kind of divine knowledge, which means you are meant to be here with the purpose. Just like I am meant to be here with the purpose, y'all, we are purposefully meant to be here so that the sick can become a healer, so that the timid can become a leader, so that the weary can become a teacher, and with the boogeyman, he became a poet. I think this is good night for real, y'all. Good night.
Thank you for joining us at Millennium Stage. As we prepare for another performance, we ask that you help us by heading towards the back of the house so we can